Today I'm going to show you how to create distance in your paintings using color. We're going to be painting on black, and it's a scene looking over a valley with a river and some distant mountains. Let's jump into it. All right, so I'm starting with a black canvas. One of my favorite things to do, and I'm drawing with a brownish color, just so that I can see the design that we're looking at. I'm going to build from the foreground toward the background here. And this is a tree that's right up against us, and we're looking over it, looking past these foreground trees. And so I'm always going to look to create a little bit of variation in anything that I do, and that includes those trees. As we're moving further back, you'll see that I'm going to put in the land that's kind of surrounding the river. I started putting the river in first, but because of the way that I like to paint, I look at the river as being a little further than the land, and I want to get that land in first because I like to paint, like I said, from the foreground to the background. And because the river is going to reflect some of the sky, I think of it more like background than I do the land that's down there. So this land is just kind of like the sandbar coming out on this river, and it's got a little bit of area that has the water has made it darker. So I'm trying to portray the difference between the dry land and some of the land that's really close to the river that is saturated with some of the water. And I'm looking at that distant hill or the distant land opposite the bank, the closer bank, and we see that there's grass. It's a very different type of area than just the sand. So I'm looking to get those variations in the greens to show a little bit of that distance already. I like to think of land that's closer to me as not reflecting as much light. And as it goes into the distance, like if it's moving up toward the horizon line, I will often do a gradation. So I'll do it here in the water as well. You'll see that the blue that's closer to us, it's further down in the painting, is going to be darker. And as the water gets further away from us, as it gets closer to the horizon, it's going to reflect a little bit brighter. And sometimes this is really visible in a scene, and sometimes it's not. But what I've found over time is that I like to, if I can't make this work by just looking at the picture, the reference photo, and it's not making sense in some way, then I'll often go to this as a trick, as a tool that I know works to portray distance. And so here, if you look at this scene carefully, you actually can see that there is a bit of that gradation going up, but then the reflection on the river gets dark as it gets closer to those trees. So I'm moving up. Again, I said I'm working from the bottom to the top, from the foreground to the background, and we're in this area where there are all these trees. I don't know about you, but sometimes if you're in a very rural area, there's lots of trees, there's lots of bushes, there's lots of green. And especially in the spring or summer, you might think, man, it just looks like it's all the same color. So what's important in the way that I like to treat this is to really think about what are all the variations of green that I can make. And I'm using my blue mixed with my yellow, and I'm trying to create blue greens, greens that are more in the middle, and then yellow greens. And later in this painting, I'm even going to bring out a different blue. So right now I have ultramarine blue and I have my cadmium yellow light. And those are all the mixes that I'm making right now. But later I'm going to show you, I'll bring out some phthalo blue, and it's going to actually provide a little bit more vibrancy for us, and it will help with this idea of distance. But what you want to do as you're going back further into a scene like this to create that distance is you want to make the farther areas less saturated. That means the yellows and the reds are going to be less intense as they move further into the distance. There are times, if you're looking at this scene and you look at the reference photo, where there's actually a shadow on that far hill. And that shadow of a cloud is actually kind of intense blue. But like I'm saying, for the sake of a painting, sometimes you need to make decisions that are going to work to portray something. And sometimes a reference photo isn't always 100% accurate. You kind of need to know what happens in real life. So learning to observe is always important. But there are times too when the observation is just a little bit too crazy. Like every once in a while there's something that will happen and I just default to say, you know what, even though it looks like this, I know that it's going to throw people off. They probably won't believe that it could have been that bright. And I might subdue something just a little bit just to make it more believable. But if you look at the background hill right now, what you'll see is I do have that shadow in there, but those colors that are further back on that background hill, they're not really vivid. They're not super saturated. They're a little bit more like a grayed down version of the green and of the blue. And I've added some color here that's a tad bit warm. It's got a little bit of violet in that white, as it's the underside of some of those clouds. And then I'm putting a little bit brighter white up higher, up just as the clouds would be the upper side of the clouds. They're going to have a little bit less color, more brightness, more white in there, and hopefully allow that to stand out and show that there is some light hitting those clouds. That will make sense of the shadow that's on the hill back there. And then above that, we have actual blue sky. Again, all these colors are really, really desaturated right now. I want them to push back, but there's not a lot of contrast with the colors at the foreground either right now. So what I'm going to do is, after I get done with the sky, I'm going to come back into the foreground, even that river down there, and I'm going to realize that I can't create the exact intensity that I want with the ultramarine blue that I have. I'm trying to create some more contrast here, but I'm going to get out some phthalo blue here eventually, and I'm going to put that in. It's going to be kind of right here toward the end. You'll see I'm just grabbing a little bit. I'm actually going to come into some of these areas in the grass first. I created a brighter yellow. It's a yellow green, and so that's a mix of phthalo blue and the cadmium yellow light and a little bit of white. And here's more phthalo blue with a little bit of the yellow. Again, these are just brighter, more highly saturated colors. And I'm trying to pull these areas forward to separate them a little bit more from the background, which is subdued and is a little bit more desaturated, which I like. I'm getting closer to this place where I'm going to grab and I'm going to make this brighter color with phthalo blue for the water. And again, I just kind of wanted it to pop a little bit more and draw our eye toward the foreground. It's not that it needs to be completely different. I'm leaving some of the ultramarine blue is going to show through a little bit, but really now you can see that your eye, it starts at the bottom, and that gradation helps us look up. And now I'm coming in with the final details of adding some white to the clouds, which will pull our eye all the way up into the sky. And we'll be done with this painting, because now our eye has a place to go, and it has a place to relax, and it has a place to kind of keep moving around back and forth between these areas. Guys, I hope that you had a good time watching this. This is the Paint Across America Challenge. You can learn more at paintacrossamerica.com. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.